More roles. Who does not like the sound of that? Well, in this video you will see 10 fan-made roles, so let's get into this. Today it's finally happening. A second top 10 fan-made roles video just made it over to your screen, and oh boy, I am excited to present you these 10 roles. But I won't do this on my own. My special guest is Sir Felneus.
Hey guys, I'm Sir Felneus, and I'm the worst role judge on the planet. I'm also a designer, and if you guys don't understand what I'm saying, like just say it in the comment, and I'll get to you, because even I can't understand what I'm saying most of the time.
Number 10, Enchantress.
And here we have a blend of the Kitten Werewolf and the Cursed. Very unique role. The Enchantress made by Hamdi Emin. So I would rather name this the Werewolf Mistress. You know, the werewolf's gotta have that, gotta have that zazz. And basically what this does is, instead of turning a player straight into a werewolf, it basically turns them into a bounty target for the werewolves to kill. So it doesn't actually change them into a cursed. It makes them basically, whenever the werewolves try to kill the target, instead of them dying, they'll be converted into a werewolf, which can be really interesting. If you have like a berserk werewolf, you can basically just power through the cursed player, whilst basically let's say you curse the seer or something, you can basically, instead of killing the seer, you can convert them, whilst also getting rid of all the protectors in the process. So that's just one strategy that you can possibly use with the Enchantress, or the Werewolf Mistress as I'd rather make it.
Number 9, Mad Scientist. This role is a villager with an unknown aura made by the hero. It looks like the witch and many other roles that have multiple potions, but one thing that this role is different in is the abilities themselves. One ability allows the Mad Scientist to select a player and make that player invincible for one voting phase. Another ability includes giving someone the opportunity to be a seer for one night, and the last ability makes someone from the dead able to chat during the day for one time. For me, the thing that holds back this role is that it's kinda strong and that it can be confirmed easily. But if this appears as RS3, it should be fine. I think it would not fit well in ranked, however. Number 8, the Thug, also known as the Terrorist. Now this role is epic. It was originally called Terrorist, and I doubt whether this is an appropriate name for Werewolf Online, but it has some cool concept. It is a serial killer, but it can give 2 shots per night, and in order for someone to die, he needs 2 shootings. This means it can be played as serial killer by giving both shootings to one player every night, but it can also select players and save them for later. This role is actually a mix between serial killer, cannibal and arsonist, which I really like. Number 7, the Designer.
What could be better than Werewolf Online than a designer? Made by Peachy. Peachy, shout out to you. Twice per game, you can choose a player to appear as when checked by an informer.
However,
it's a solo role. It's kind of like Fool. It's harder Fool, but you basically get a extra. It's kind of a harder Fool, but you've got an advantage in which you can basically disguise yourself as one of the werewolves, or a killer, or maybe even a important role that the werewolves might want to lynch. So basically, you have to rely on the informers to basically force them into checking you, so that they think that you're evil. And since you can only do this twice per game, you have to be careful with when you use your abilities. So, for example, you've made yourself suspicious on one day, and the informers may want to check you in response. Maybe you could even go out with not even claiming anything, because that's what most informers would go to check.
Number 6, Lawyer.
This role by Mr. Pear is simple yet effective. Once per game, the lawyer can select a player, and once the player dies, the lawyer can call up a second voting phase. This grants the village an extra opportunity to lynch, but it can also be beneficial to the werewolves if they manage to get a mislynch. Personally, I like this role, and it would be a good replacement for sheriffs as well. You can even play mind games with the werewolves by telling who you watch, but actually watching someone else, and then they kill your actual target, and you know the drill.
Well, I don't.
Please go back to college or I will drill you the drill.
Number 5. Magic Man.
What this does is it chooses one player to protect each night. So it's kind of like a doctor, but the difference is that it has an unknown aura. And also, whenever you get attacked, whenever your target gets attacked, you basically get a charge which you can use to basically kill anyone in the game. So it's kind of like a witch, but it's not really. You have to be smart and you have to protect somebody in order for your ability to activate. You can basically continue to be a doctor as long as you don't kill anybody. Because once you kill someone, you're basically just a fork man with an unknown aura. But this can make for some pretty good plays. So it does encourage the magic man himself basically to try and basically bait the killers into attacking his target like a doctor. But like it's more encouraging because you get this extra ability when you do.
Number 4. Dark Cupid.
The Dark Cupid by GMO is a really epic solo killer. As the name says, it can couple players, but it can be done every night, and since you need to survive till the very end, it is beneficial to get the couples killed. Coupled players by the Dark Cupid don't know each other's roles and won't be able to win together as couple either. I only have 2 suggestions to improve this role a bit, due to endgame and balancing. 1. If a Dark Cupid survives for long enough, it can be so lethal to the enemies that it puts himself in a first target for the village, since 5 or 6 people might be chained. Therefore, it would be better to have a limit of 3 couple abilities so that there are no endless chains. 2. Since the Dark Cupid cannot win in 1 versus 1, it should be able to kill players as well. The best solution is that the Dark Cupid can choose at night whether he kills someone or that he couples 2 players and doesn't kill, and that this can be done 3 times per game. If that were the case, this role has a huge strategical potential. Who will be coupled with who? Will they work against you? Can you bypass protection, for example by coupling a protector with a weaker role, and there is much more.
Number 3. Fisherman.
The Fisherman may not look like much, maybe just catching fish and stuff, but this is definitely one of the most interesting roles that I've come across in the comment section. And this was made by Matiha Bakic. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. And what this role does is it gives fish each night. It has a good aura, by the way. So it's kind of an informer, but it's not really an informer. It's kind of a third party, if you get what I mean. So you can basically choose to give a fish each night, but you don't actually start with a fish on the first day. You actually have to do nothing to get some fish, if you get what I mean. But you can basically do nothing for 2 nights and get 2 fish, or you can just get 1 fish and then give a fish to someone on the next night. And the interesting part is, if you give a fish to a werewolf, you'll know their exact role, and even better, the werewolves can't even kill you that night. I mean, unless the junior werewolf tags you, but this you're basically safe for the night. You've got confirmed info. But on those nights where you don't have info, you're gonna have to find some way of getting some info so that the werewolves don't think that you're that important, but you're really, really very important.
Number 2. Priestess.
Okay, so this role was made by two people. This is the Priestess, or the Magician as it was called, by Ornstein and ExplodingColaYT. So this is also a villager with a unknown aura. So this once per game, this is a day ability, and you basically select a player to sacrifice during the day. Sacrifice to the gods, or maybe make a magic trick. And this player just disappears. You don't know their role when you kill them as the Priestess or the Magician. So you can't see what their role is, and after 2 days, somehow miraculously they come back. So this can be pretty interesting if you want to like protect important roles like gunner, or maybe even medium, or whatever. Medium will probably not be in the same game. This is probably what it replaces, and you basically use the important roles to fake their death. So the werewolves will probably not know that the gunner suddenly disappeared, apart from if they don't shoot for like 2 days, which is how long it takes for the gunner to come back. And most gunners will just claim, so they can basically just come back for the late game and basically don't have to worry about surviving for the early game. However, you gotta be careful, because Like junior werewolves, like they can fake this role as well. And you know when a junior werewolf dies, they take somebody with them. So if you see a junior werewolf coming back, they're gonna take someone else twice. So they can also claim Gunner or something, even though it's probably a bad idea. But just keep that in mind.
And the final number 1 of today is going to be the Musketeer.
Today's winner is the Musketeer by A because it's really simplistic and it can replace the gunner in a fun way. You have definitely experienced game throwing gunners, right? Well, the Musketeer can barely be used for game throwing since its wave killing involves the village's vote. 3 times per game the Musketeer can call up an execution phase, which starts straight after the voting phase. The Musketeer has to select 3 players when he uses his ability, and these 3 players are the options for the village to vote. The Musketeer and the selected targets cannot vote, so it relies on the input of the village and werewolves entirely. The voted player will die at the end of the next night, so it means that it can still be used to eliminate the fool, and if there is not a minimum amount of votes, or if it's a tie, then nobody dies, which means that you cannot just select 3 villagers and get rid of a villager and game throw in that way. Last, the Musketeer is revealed to all players on day 1, which means you cannot game throw and get away with it. Other abilities are not enabled during the execution phase either. If you submitted the role under the announcement video, then I want to thank you for taking your time. Although reading through more than 100 roles was sometimes really hard or tedious, there were a lot of fun roles and therefore picking only 10 was a challenge. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, be sure to leave a like since this video has been my biggest project so far. Also subscribe for more Werewolf Online content, including top 10s like this, and be sure to check out the announcement video if you want to read the roles yourself. Shout out to TokyoLight, Rialete, Romit56 and ExplodingColaYT YouTube. Thanks for your support. Links of my and their social media are in the description. For now, I will see you later and don't be a traitor. Goodbye.